It's Beyond Babbitt. You know, tomorrow is the 4th of July. Happy 4th. Happy early 4th. But while everybody's barbecuing and out celebrating and spending money, I'm contemplating, the things that's going on. We have the midterms coming up. We got all these nations still out there still amassing their military forces around the world, testing new weapons, buying new weapons. They say now that China has a AK-47 that can fire laser shots. Oh yeah, we're going into space wars, man. Star Wars, man. And the speed of the missiles continue to get faster for Russia and China. Kind of makes you think, who's really in control? Do presidents really run this? Do the heads of these states or head of countries really run this? Or is there a hidden hand somewhere, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to connect the dots. Because I didn't reread Sun Tzu, but I was listening to someone who was giving a synopsis of Sun Tzu's The Art of War. And according to Sun Tzu, this is the last stage before the bombs drop. What stage is that? Well, this is the stage where governments, countries are trying to sever ties between other governments and countries. Relationships come in between, It's like get new allies. If you can make these people, I got something better for you. If you can leave them alone. Just isolation. You want to isolate the people who you want to attack or you want to go to war against. You want to make sure their allies aren't on their side. So if possible, you can make it a one-on-one or more favorable to you to where you can jump them. So several countries against one. It's not like them and a bunch of countries against you and a bunch of countries. So this is the stage we're at now, determining the sides to the upcoming conflict. Also, the financial collapse continues on. I'm still holding the date that I called earlier this year. What was that? January, February? That September? I said September 28th is going to be the financial collapse of the U.S. And I'm still holding to that. I'm still sticking to that. Now, speaking of that, right? The Communist Manifesto said that one of the things that a country had to have was a central bank. Most central banks, well, these countries are owned by the Rothschilds, who are akin to the Rockefellers and all the other wealthy people. Family, the rich people marry in, they keep inbreeding. The names may change, but it's still the same DNA, RNA. You see what I'm saying? So I got some interesting facts here for you. We talked about the Wesley Clark 7. You remember those countries that he had got word that we were going to attack? This was somewhere in 2001, right after the 9/11 happened. He got word that not only were we going to attack, we were going to attack Afghanistan and Iraq, but they told him we were going to take down 7 countries in 5 years. So let me just read the countries that Wesley Clark read off in this. And that interview is still, I think there was a Democracy Now! Interview. It's still on the internet. So let me read those countries for you. The Wesley Clark 7 are Iran, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Lebanon, Somalia, and Sudan. Okay? I'll read those one more time. The Wesley Clark 7. In 2001, he was told these are the countries that we were going to take down, right, within 5 years, for no apparent reason, after the towers fell. See, the towers actually were the beginning of the New World Order, was the beginning of this thing. So let me read those countries again. Iran, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Lebanon, Somalia, and Sudan. 7 countries. The interesting fact is this. In the year 2000, there were 8 countries that didn't have a Rothschild owned or controlled central bank. Only 8 countries. Let me repeat that again. Maybe you didn't hear me. In the year 2000, there were only 8 countries that didn't have a Rothschild owned or controlled central bank. What are those countries? I'm glad you asked. So those countries are going to be Afghanistan, Iraq, Sudan, Libya, Cuba, North Korea, Iran, and Syria. A lot of those countries are the same as the Wesley Clark 7. There's only a few differences. The Wesley Clark 7 didn't include Afghanistan. The Wesley Clark fighter jet. Wesley Clark 7 did not include Afghanistan, did not include Cuba, and did not include North Korea. The Wesley Clark 7 didn't. Okay, so let's bring it up to date, right? Since you have a list of countries, 8 countries without a central bank owned or controlled by the Rothschilds, and 7 countries that we were going to attack. 5 of those are pretty similar. Well, 4 or 5. Because 1 is 7 and 1 is 8. So, okay. Let's bring you up to speed, bring you up to date. As of the year 2017, just last year, there were only 4 countries. 4. So we went from 8 to 4, right? So as of the year 2017, there are only 4 countries that don't have a central bank that's owned or controlled by the Rothschilds. Those countries are Cuba, North Korea, Iran, Syria. Cuba, North Korea, Iran, Syria. I'm trying to get that to sink in. Let's connect the dots. Currently, the U.S. and its allies, NATO, European Union, and whoever else, we're in Syria. Oh yeah, full-fledged. Matter of fact, the news I've been getting lately is that the Syrian army, along with Russia and Iran, are starting to kick the terrorists' butts, starting to take their land back. They said they're going to take the entire thing back, and they're winning. And they keep finding caches of weapons that were dropped to the quote-unquote terrorists, and they're U.S.-made weapons. Go figure. But we're in Syria. That's one of the 4, as of last year, that didn't have a central bank controlled or owned by the Rothschilds. Iran. According to Q, Iran is next. Iran is next. We're preparing for that thing now. North Korea. We don't know what's going on with North Korea, because the Rothschilds may be getting set up, unless they run China, own China. Who knows? But North Korea, according to CNN, has restarted their nuclear facilities, re-upgrading their nuclear coolers and nuclear dams, and as if they're going to upgrade the nuclear stuff, as if they're kicking it back off, as if the talks didn't mean anything. We have to keep our eye on these guys. And Cuba. Haven't heard much from Cuba lately. We don't know what's going on there. Fidel died. Fidel Castro. Raul Castro is passed the presidency on to someone else. So we don't know what's going to happen there. We do know this, that President O opened Cuba up, so that America and American citizens could go there freely, have free access. Way to start getting it prepped to get that central bank in there, isn't it? Because that used to be a communist country. It was more of an ally of Russia. Now the Rothschilds say, we're going to do it like this. So as we put together the dots, I'm going to say that the thing with North Korea, unless they get that bank in there, is not over. I'm going to say that Iran, the thing with them is just beginning, because we need that central bank. They need that central bank in there. Syria, looks like they're losing there. They had it almost, had them down to the hairs on their chin, but they're fighting back. And Cuba. Cuba, North Korea, Iran, and Syria are the last four of the Wesley Clark 7. Let's see who's left. Sudan, of course, was knocked off. It was split in half. Now you have North Sudan and South Sudan. Libya, of course, President O knocked them off. Lebanon. I think Iran, because now Hezbollah controls Lebanon. It used to be a Christian nation. Somalia hasn't had a government since Clinton in like 96 or something like that. Syria, we're in there now. Iraq, we knocked them off. And Iran, they're next. So as we can see, the war in the Middle East has nothing to do with anything else except money. Has nothing to do with religion, not Christianity, not Islam. Has nothing to do with people gassing their own people or being dictators, or has nothing to do with terrorists or ISIS or none of that stuff. If you look up ISIS, you would see who trained, that they're Sunni. The ISIS are Sunni Muslims trained in Saudi Arabia by the CIA. There you go. So the Rothschilds must run Saudi Arabia. They must run the CIA. And we're just going along for the ride. So now we do have the Mediterranean countries, the real war front, because the Rothschilds might not get it their way. Like I said, I don't know who's in control of China, but China has their own thing, the OBOR, One Belt, One Road, where they want to be the new superpower. So the Mediterranean states where the war is currently happening, Israel, Spain, Portugal, Morocco, Algeria, Greece, Italy, France, Turkey, Syria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, and Lebanon. And you know, a bunch of those President O took out. President O took out Egypt, took out Libya, took out Tunisia. Tried to take out Turkey. He did a coup on Turkey. He started the war with Syria as well. I don't know about Israel. Well, they've already got coins with Donald Trump. And on the other side is Cyrus, the builder of the third temple. We're going into this, man. Whether this is the actual biblical prophecy or just Satan trying to make it look like it, we're going that way. And most of you don't even know what the mark of the beast is. Been in church your whole life and don't even know. And don't care. Because somebody told you, don't worry about it. You're not going to be here anyway. You're going to be raptured out. and you were foolish enough to believe it. A lot of what people know about the quote-unquote rapture, they saw in the movie or heard it on the video, saw in the cartoon. You've never read about it in the scripture, because the word rapture is not in there, nor is the event rapture in there, not the way they spin it, not the narrative they paint it to be. You can't find the sequence like they tell you. If they tell you how it happened and you write it down and you go and look for it in that order in the Bible, you can't find it in the Old Testament or the New Testament. I'm just warning you, because there's a lot of rapture trolls out there, man. People get mad. It's like a cult. It's like a cult, the rapture cult. You know, if you don't believe in the rapture, they'll defriend you on Facebook. They'll unfriend you on Facebook. They'll come in and pretty much cuss you out, you know, talk all crazy to you, try to get you all stirred up, provoke you to wrath, and then say you did something wrong. It's a rapture cult. Yeah. And then the thing that they tell everybody, don't worry about it, you ain't gonna be here. And guess what? That's what all the zombies say. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm not gonna be here. You ain't gone yet. You still here. When you plan on leaving? And where you going? Since it's not in the Bible. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you were talking about the wedding, it's one thing, because the Bible does speak about that. Or if you were talking about being a witness, a martyr, dying for Christ, the Bible does speak about that. It talks about he who kills you is going to think he does God a service. The Bible talks about Revelation chapter 6 and Revelation chapter 7, how in chapter 7, all those people was in heaven, and he asked John, who are these people? John dressed in white. And John was like, sir, thou knowest. I don't know. He said, these are they who come out of great tribulation. And ain't no more tears. He said, they were killed. That's what it say. They were killed for his name's sake, for the word. They wasn't raptured out. It's in the Bible. It's in Revelation. I'm not writing this. I didn't write a word in there. Lord willing, we'll get into it, you know, to help you. Because I don't want you to be a part of that rapture cult and the rapture trolls. I want you to know the truth. And it has nothing to do with feelings. I don't care if it makes you happy to believe that, you know, you're not going to be here when we're still here today. I mean, Santa Claus may make you happy too, but it's not real. Anyway, that's what I had to say. I want you to think about it, you know. We're just connecting the dots. Connecting the dots. Because are you going to be around in 7 years? They told us that they're going to get rid of 200-something million people, 217 million people in the U.S. in the next 7 years. Yeah. And it's going to be with things like earthquakes, fires, floods, volcanoes. And one of the biggest tomorrow, July 4th, the real first purge begins. The Civil War begins. Ethnos against ethnos. What's that? What's ethnos against ethnos? Ethnicity against ethnicity. So your color and your language is what's going to keep people together. It's also what's going to separate people. Religion, politics, money has nothing to do with it. Those are all the things that are contrived. See, you're going to pick a side. See, some people are like, oh, no, I ain't going to be in it. Yeah, you're going to be in it. Because when somebody run up on you and you look like this and they say, yeah, you one of them, and they punch you in the face or do something to you, yeah, you're going to be a part of it. You're going to do something. You ain't going to be like, I ain't in it. Yeah, well, you're going to have to just lay down and ball up and wake up a bloody mess. It starts tomorrow, July 4th. Be prepared, guys. Beyond Babbitt. Over and out.